So we are going to look at the concept of gene. Now it was Seymour Benzer in 1962 who worked on E. coli and T4 bacteriophages. And he came out with the structure of a gene. Now, if we look at the structure of the DNA, so if we consider this as a DNA, it is only a small part of DNA. So only a small part of a DNA, we can consider this as a gene, and which has some following characteristic features. So gene, essentially, if this is the DNA, then gene will be a small part of DNA. So now, what are the structural units of a gene? So gene is something we say cistron. Now what is this cistron? This is a small part of the DNA and which has a capability of forming a polypeptide chain. That means this, if this is a gene, and if this can form a protein or a polypeptide chain, then we call this as a cistron. So it is a part of DNA which is capable of forming a polypeptide chain. We can call this as a gene. So gene in this case is a cistron, a part of DNA which can code or which can give rise to a polypeptide. So if this is a polypeptide, and what is this polypeptide? Polypeptide is a protein chain which is made up of amino acids. So cistron is a small unit of function that determines the formation of a polypeptide chain. So we can call this as a gene, but in this case we call this as a cistron. Cistron is essentially a gene. What is the second characteristic feature? A part of DNA which can undergo crossing over. What is this crossing over? Crossing over means the exchange of genetic material. It is the exchange of genetic material. So small part of the DNA which can undergo crossing over or recombination, that is the exchange of genetic material. Even this we consider this as a gene, and we call this as a recon. So cistron is also a gene, recon is also a gene, and there is something called a part of the DNA which can undergo mutation. And what is this mutation? Mutation is some change in the sequence. It is the change in nitrogen base pair sequence. In nitrogen base pair sequence, or the nitrogenous bases, and if they undergo a change, for example, we have ATGC as a sequence. Now this gets converted into AAGC. What has happened? This T is replaced by A. So we call this as some change, some mutation. So gene can either be a cistron, that is a small part of DNA which can code for a polypeptide chain. It can be a recon, a small part of DNA which can undergo crossing over, a small part of DNA which can undergo mutation, and that is called a muton. Now what is the function of this gene? Now gene is capable of self-replication. So if this is a small part, it can undergo replication. Now gene, it is responsible for the development and differentiation of organisms. So it is because of the meaning of differentiation here is it will produce specific type of proteins, and as a result of which it results in differentiated cells. So we can call them as a specific type of proteins are produced from a gene, and as a result of which we call this as differentiation. Gene can undergo the process of transcription and translation, and therefore it can result in the process of protein. It can result in the formation of protein synthesis. It is also capable of structural changes by mutation. So if there is a change in the genetic sequence, so if this sequence, it undergoes some change. So as I told you, if this is ATGC, now if it undergoes a change, it gives rise to AACGC. The type of protein produced will be different, and as a result of which this results in something called as a variation result. So these are the functions of the gene, that is undergoing self-replication. It controls the development and differentiation of organisms. Differentiation is because of the formation of specific type of proteins. It controls the biosynthesis of proteins, that is the process of transcription and translation, and it is also capable of undergoing structural changes by mutation. That means a sequence, if this is a sequence and if this undergoes a change in the form of mutation, then what happens? It gives rise to proteins, and as a result of which there is a sort of variation in the cells or in the organism. So that is the function of genes and the components of genes, meaning cistron, recon, and muton. These are actually the genes with different activities or different function. Now if you look at the prokaryotic gene, now this prokaryotic gene, if you look at this part of a DNA, and this is a prokaryotic gene, and we call this as ORFs, that is open reading frames. That means the gene, say from this point, first nitrogenous base to say 50th nitrogenous base. So the entire gene is transcribed. So the entire gene from this nitrogenous base 1 to nitrogenous base 50, so all the entire gene, we can say, is transcribed into RNA. Now this is a polycistronic gene. Why is it called a polycistronic gene? Because as you can see here, this is a gene which produces a polypeptide. This is a gene which produces a polypeptide. This is a gene which produces a polypeptide. So polycistronic is a type of gene which contains many such cistrons, and these cistrons, they undergo the process of transcription simultaneously. So they give rise to a polypeptide. A number of these polypeptides are formed. So this will form one polypeptide, this will form one polypeptide, this will form one polypeptide. So this is referred to as a polycistronic gene. It contains many cistrons. We call this as cistron 1, this is cistron 2, this is cistron 3. This cistron will produce a polypeptide 1. This cistron produces polypeptide 2. This cistron produces a polypeptide 3. So these are continuous sequences, and the cistrons uninterruptedly, they give rise to a number of polypeptides, and we call this type of gene as a polycistronic gene in case of prokaryotes. If we look at eukaryotes, so if this is a DNA, in case of eukaryotes, if this is a DNA, now when the DNA gives rise to mRNA, and this mRNA gives rise to proteins like this, that is amino acid sequence. There is no collinearity. Collinearity means these sequences which are here, So the first three nitrogenous bases, if they give rise to first amino acid, it is not necessary that the second three of them will give rise to a second amino acid, because in case of eukaryotic gene, there is something called as introns, or we call them as non-coding sequences. So this mRNA which is formed by transcription, it consists of, as you can see in this diagram here, it consists of sequence which are non-coding and which are coding. Non-coding sequences, we call them as introns, and coding sequences, we call them as exons. So I1 in this case are introns, and E1 in this case are exons. So there is no collinearity because of presence of introns or non-coding sequences. Now, when this mRNA, if it is mRNA, this has to undergo some processing. This mRNA undergoes some processing. And this processing involves primarily the removal of the introns. So these introns are removed. As you can see here, this is the mRNA, or we call them as heterogeneous nuclear RNA. And this is characterized by presence of non-coding sequence. This is coding sequence, that is intron, exon, intron, exon, intron, exon. So when we say the processing of RNA takes place, it means that all these introns are removed in a process, and that process is called splicing. And once these introns are spliced, as you can see, these are removed as intron 1, this is intron 2, this is intron 3, and then we get a sequence consisting of all the exons, and we call this as mature RNA. This type of gene, we call it as a monocistronic gene, because it can synthesize only one type of polypeptide. So in case of prokaryotes, it is polycistronic. In case of eukaryotes, it is a monocistronic type of gene. So this is a basic difference between the eukaryotic gene and the prokaryotic gene. This is polycistronic. That is, multiple cistrons, they can form a multiple polypeptide. But in this case, this is monocistronic, as these exons come together and they form a single polypeptide chain, and we call this as monocistronic gene. So you have to remember these, the meaning of gene. What do you understand by cistron, recon, and muton? Basically, these are the genes which have at a different sort of function. The functions of these genes, as we have seen in this case, the prokaryotic gene and eukaryotic gene. Looking at the protein synthesis, protein synthesis takes place in three major stages or steps. That is the chain initiation step, the chain elongation step, and the chain termination step. So this step, we call it as activation of amino acid. Now this is a step which is a precursor step. That means before the actual translation takes place, some preparation reaction has to occur. So this is a preparatory, in a way, this is called a preparatory. This is a preparatory step or preparatory phase. Now in this step, what happens is the amino acids which are present, if these are the amino acids which are present in the cell, and if this is the transfer RNA which is present in the cell. So now what will happen is this amino acid, it is loaded on this transfer RNA. So this amino acid, it is loaded on this transfer RNA, and that process we refer it as activation of amino acids. So this tRNA, it becomes active, or we call it as a loaded transfer RNA, so that it actually is loaded with an amino acid. So this is a simple reaction which takes place. This amino acids in presence of adenosine triphosphate molecule, it forms a amino acid adenylate. That means this amino acid, it gets attached to this with the release of phosphate. This is inorganic phosphate. So it is adenosine monophosphate and amino acids. Now this adenylate, amino acid adenylate, this with comes in contact with the transfer RNA, and in presence of an enzyme called amino acyl tRNA synthetase, it gives rise to the loaded transfer RNA. That is, this tRNA is loaded with amino acid. So this is a preparatory step of protein synthesis. And you are all aware of the steps involved in protein synthesis. We are not going to go into the details of steps involved in protein synthesis, because this is already, you are aware of this. This involves amino acid binding site, peptidyl site, chain elongation involves the bond formation between amino acid 1 and amino acid 2. So this bond which is formed, we call it as a peptide bond. And finally, the chain termination takes place. But what is important also, as far as NEET examination is concerned, is they'll ask you the role of the antibiotics as a inhibitors of protein synthesis. So there are different antibiotics like tetracycline. The role of tetracycline is it inhibits the binding of amino acyl tRNA to ribosome. So during the protein synthesis, when this tRNA, if it has to bind to mRNA and to the ribosome actually, so this inhibition takes place. So this role, and what is the role of this antibiotic, and what is the name of this antibiotic? This is very important. This relation is normally asked in the match the following. So tetracycline, it inhibits the binding of amino acyl tRNA to ribosome. Streptomycin is another antibiotic, and it inhibits the initiation of translation. So chain initiation step, it is inhibited, or it may result in misreading of the sequences. Erythromycin, it inhibits the translocation of mRNA along the ribosome. So as this is the ribosome and this is the mRNA. So once the binding amino acids, so amino acid 1, amino acid 2, if the sequence is read here, then what will happen? There is a swiveling process where this ribosome gets out, and the the messenger RNA, it moves in this direction, so that the ribosome, it will move in the further direction. If this is 5-3-, the movement is in this direction. So that process, we call it as translocation. When after reading of a sequence, after the amino transfer RNA with an amino acid, once it is added, then it gets out of the sequence. So this ribosome has to move one sequence ahead. So that is the process of translocation, and that is inhibited by erythromycin. And neomycin, it inhibits the interaction between tRNA and mRNA. So unless there is an interaction between mRNA and tRNA, the addition of new amino acids will not be possible. So therefore, these are the different antibiotics and their role in inhibiting the process of protein synthesis. So tetracycline inhibits the binding of amino acyl tRNA to ribosome. Streptomycin inhibits the initiation of translation, and it also causes the misreading of the sequences. Erythromycin inhibits translocation of mRNA along the ribosome, and neomycin inhibits the interaction between tRNA and mRNA. So this is, in short, the meaning of gene and what are the inhibitors of protein synthesis. Okay, thank you. Please keep on revising these things. This is a very short topic, but at least one question is expected from this concept. Thank you.